Welcome to San Joaquin Spotlight, a public affairs program featuring conversations about life in the central San Joaquin Valley. This program is brought to you in partnership between KFSR 90.7 FM and CMAC Fresno. I'm your host, Sevag Tatiosian. Today we're going to learn about the ROTC at Fresno State with Adisa Lewis. Welcome to the program.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Let's talk about the ROTC. What does that stand for? What is the program about?
The ROTC, the abbreviation for ROTC is Reserve Officer Training Corps. What it does is it allows people to be in school at the exact same time as they're trying to earn their commission and become an officer in the United States Army.
When you go out and you talk to people and you tell them you're with the ROTC, do they know what it means?
A lot of people don't know what it means, but when I say I'm in the Army, that pretty much is just shuts everything down. So they understand that I'm in the Army, and then I'll explain to them that I'm trying to work to earn my commission and become a lieutenant.
I want to ask you the affiliation between the ROTC and the Army. When you sign up for the ROTC, have you signed up for the Army?
You haven't signed up for the Army. What you've done is you have signed a contract saying that you will serve your time in the Army after you earn your commission, which is at a four-year university. It's 4 years. For me, I'm a graduate student, so I'm going to earn my commission in 2 years. I went to a program called LTC, which allows me to work there, and it's a month-long program. I do that, and it takes away for the first 2 years. But that's true.
So if I sign up for the ROTC, can I back out like a year later, or is it a contract where I'm with the Army now?
It's a contract with the Army, so if you want to back out a year later, you can. It depends on what the circumstance is. Sometimes you would have to go to the Army and work as an enlisted personnel, a soldier, or you would just have to pay back the money that you've been paid while you're in the ROTC.
You mentioned you're a graduate student. Is that rare for ROTC members to be graduate students? When I hear of ROTC, I hear it at the high schools and I hear it in the undergrad, but you're actually a graduate student. Talk about that.
Okay, so as a graduate student in the ROTC, it's pretty much the same. It's not common. I've heard of one other cadet who's been in the graduate program. He's at USC, but it's not common, but it is possible. Not a lot of people understand that you don't have to be in the ROTC for 4 years. They have a program, like I said earlier, which is LTC, Leadership Training Course, and that's held in Fort Knox every summer, and that's what I did. But not a lot of people know that, and they can utilize that if they would like.
What's the benefit? Let's say that I have my graduate degree and I decide to become an ROTC member. Is it better for me to have a graduate degree than a bachelor's degree?
Okay, well, when everyone wants to get a graduate degree, the first thing they want to do is they want to get a career. The best thing to do, is the way I think about it, is I always think about goals. I set a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 10-year goal. When when I'm in graduate school and I decided to get my graduate degree, I wanted to get my career. My career commissioning will allow me to have an automatic career in a field in the Army. And what that allows me to do is pursue my career outside the Army after my contract is up. With both of those, also with a graduate degree, having a master's, I'll be able to promote past major a little faster than most of my peers, because when you want to promote past major, on the board it looks a little better if you do have a master's.
Talk about your background a little bit. When did you decide that, you know what, I'm going to join the Army?
Okay. Well, I came into Fresno State. I decided to come to Fresno State back in 2007 when I graduated from high school. I wanted to come here to play football. I had a bad shoulder, decided maybe it wasn't the best thing to do, so got surgery on my shoulder and just came to Fresno State because I wanted to pursue my criminology degree and become a police officer. Pretty much, I came to Fresno State. I liked it. I hurried up and graduated in 3 years. It took me 3 years to get my undergraduate degree. I sat there and realized no one's hiring right now. So I had a dad's friend. He's an officer in the Air Force, actually, and he told me to look at the Army. Look at the Army ROTC and see what they have to offer. I went to the Army ROTC and spoke to a recruiter there. Spoke to the recruiter. He informed me that, hey, we do have LTC. how about you come in the program for one semester while you're doing your graduate degree, and you just tell me how you like it. Maybe we continue to LTC. So I decided to do that, and I liked it after the first semester, went to LTC, and I've loved it since.
You mentioned that you wanted to play football. What was the position that you wanted to play?
Free safety. Free safety.
On the defense.
There we go, hitting hard.
So originally, we were talking off camera, and you mentioned that you're from Fontana, California. I'm familiar with Fontana because I'm from Glendale. Fresno's much different than down south, wouldn't you say?
Extremely different, extremely different. Fontana, I can literally jog to the next city and jog back, and I'll be perfectly fine. Out here, I mean, if I jog, and if I jog 10 miles outside of Fresno, east, west, north to south, I'm pretty much in the middle of nowhere.
You know, I look at you, and you're in great shape. Were you always in this shape prior to joining the ROTC?
I've always been in pretty good shape. There was one point that I did get pretty big. The freshman 15, as everyone knows it, I was at 225, I believe. But I lifted a lot of weight, just diet, and just working out a lot. Had a lot of friends who played football at the school and ran track at the school, so they always called me chubby. So I just had to lose weight to hang out with them a little bit more.
This is a silly question, but how much do you work out in the ROTC? Because we have audience members now listening to the program or watching that may be interested in the ROTC program but may not be in shape, and they're wondering how much of a workout is required to be a ROTC member.
Well, it's 3 weeks mandatory. You go to Monday, Tuesday, and Friday for everyone. It's just like any other sport, anything else in life. If you want to be better at it, you just have to put more time into it. So you can go 3 days a week. That's perfectly fine. But the question is, do you just want to be 3 days a week, or do you want to do 5 days a week? And I do 5 days a week. So I work out every day. The workouts usually consist of, it's usually just stretching for the first 15, 20 minutes of PT, which is physical fitness. And then after the stretching, we go on a run. The runs usually consist of between 1 mile and 3 miles. And the runs actually vary from, are we doing distance runs or are we just doing sprints today? And we usually incorporate some type of push-up, sit-up workout in there. We do have a physical fitness test, which is conducted. Everyone has to do it, males, females, big, small, everyone has to do it. That's a push-up test, sit-up test, and a 2-mile run. And everything is, in the push-ups and sit-ups are 2 minutes. The run, you just get the time that you get.
Is this hard? I mean, let's say that someone is out of shape and wants to passionately become an ROTC member. First, will the ROTC accept them? And second, what advice would you give them?
Army will accept you regardless, okay? All you have to do is have that mindset that you want to be here. If you never quit and you persevere, anyone's going to want you. Even if I don't want to be bothered with you, if I can see that you're really trying and you're not giving up, then I'm going to want you. What knowledge would I bestow on anyone trying to join the Army ROTC, or just anyone in life, period? I would tell them my favorite motto is persevere, never quit. That's what I was brought up on as a child. If you just never quit and you always persevere, people see that. People see you working hard. Even if you haven't moved an inch, people are going to look at you and say, you know what, he's really trying hard.
How big is the ROTC at Fresno State? Are we talking hundreds? Are we talking thousands? Or are we talking a small handful?
Okay, at Fresno State, we have a battalion. The battalion consists of, you can say roughly between 45 to 55 students there. These students vary. I mean, there's all different races, all different sizes, big, small, you name it. There's all different grades, from freshman in college to myself, graduate in college, from 17, 18 years old, all the way up to 23, 24, 25 years old. All different majors as well.
And is it mixed between male and female? How does that work? So do the males and females work out together, or are they separated?
Males and females work out together. We're a team, and we do everything as a team.
You mentioned something earlier that I want to ask you about, and that's goals. You mentioned you had a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 10-year goal.
Right.
If it's no secret, could you tell our audience what your goals are? Where do you see yourself in the future?
Okay, in the future, 3 years from now, I see myself in the Army still. So I still have to be in the Army from 3 years from now. But I see myself at least as a captain. I want to have, and as a captain, by that time, I'll be at Captain's Career Course, Military Intelligence School. So I'll be having my TS, my top security clearance. That is my #1 goal since I was 10 years old, is to have a top security clearance. That allows me to work in any federal agency pretty much across the board, and it's probably won't be too hard for me to get in. My 5-year goal is to, at least invest in some stock here and there, and probably, travel the world a little bit. The Army's really going to help out with that. So I've gotten 2 in 1 already. And my 10-year goal, hopefully, is to already have started a family. That's what I would love to do.
And do you find that the goals are similar amongst your peers in the ROTC, or is it diverse?
It's pretty diverse. Some people, are in it for the money. Some people are in it for the education purposes, which I think is beautiful. And then you have other people in it for the career, which I'm in it for the career. Everyone should be in it for something. So that's what I tell people.
So if I was a ROTC member, would the Army stipend my education, or how does that work if you know how that works?
Exactly. So pretty much you get a stipend. Everyone gets a stipend if you contract. Contract is you swear in and you sign on a piece of paper saying, all right, after I commission in 4 years or 2 years in my case, I will serve the U.S. Army as a second lieutenant. When you do that, you automatically get a stipend. Freshmen get, I believe it's $300. Sophomores get $350. Juniors get $400, and seniors get $500, I believe. So that's how that works. When it comes to scholarships, you can compete for a scholarship, and you will get a scholarship if there's a scholarship available. If you compete, that's GPA-wise, physical fitness-wise.
What are the classes you are taking, and are these classes ones that all ROTC members have to take? Let me give you an example. If I take Economy 101, is it required, or do everybody take different classes?
Okay, so the Army ROTC recognizes that everyone has their major. They understand that they have their own classes that they have to go to. So you will take your own classes. Myself, I took marriage counseling, and I've taken consultations. I've taken internship classes for criminology. That's what I've done. And then you do take a class on a Wednesday. Everyone goes to the Wednesday class. It's a lab class. You learn leadership. You learn land navigation. You learn tactics. You learn a variety of things, ethics. You learn common courtesies. You learn everything in the Army that pretty much most of the things in the Army that you need to know as a second lieutenant. And then you go to your personal classes. Myself, I have a military science class. I'm a senior in the program, so I have a military science senior class. This class it teaches me a lot of things, but what it really teaches is the person, and it promotes creative thinking, critical thinking, and tries to improve my intellectual capacity.
Let me ask you about the day you signed up. So you get to the office, I imagine. There's a paper or contract in front of you, I imagine. What is going through your mind when you're signing up? Any doubts?
There was no doubts in my mind. Okay, so I'll tell you about that day. I was in my uniform. I walked up to the office, took my pen out. All right, we have these sleeves, 3 pins in it. So I took my pen out. I had a rubber band around it, so I knew, because I had that exact same pin in my drawer still. So sit down. I signed my name on the dotted line. I swear in, sign my name on the dotted line. And in my head, I just think right now, I just signed my life. Just signed my life. But at the same time, I'm doing something positive. I'm doing something that I wanted, and I'm doing something to further myself and better myself in the future.
As a ROTC member, tell our audience about how it works when there's a war. I mean, can you get called up yet as a ROTC member, or do you have to wait till your program is over?
You have to wait. If there's a war, you don't just get called up. You have to wait until you commission. So if you're a freshman, that won't be to another 4 years. The war might be over by 4 years. As myself, I commission in May. So I become a second lieutenant in May, and I go to my school. So I still have to go to school first before I even go to anywhere or go to a unit. So how it usually works, I'll give you my example. Say if I was graduating in a year, right? And say there's a war right now. I would finish my semester, I would finish my whole year up. Then I would go to my first school, because the Army does have schools, right? I would go to my first school. Let's say it's military intelligence school. I go to military intelligence school. And then if I have any other schools I want to go to, Ranger School, go to Airborne, Air Assault, Pathfinder, I go to those schools. And then I'll go to my unit, and then I'll be deployed if that is what my unit is doing.
You mentioned several units of the Army. So when you sign up to be a ROTC member, have you already signed up to like infantry, or have you signed up to the different areas yet?
You have not signed up for those different areas yet. you have this one phase between it's after your junior year, before your senior year. That's summer. This last summer I just went to. You go to a course in Fort Lewis, Washington called LDAC, Leadership Development Assessment Course. There, they pretty much, what it says, they develop you and they assess your leadership skills. And you're there, that's what they do. You come back and they rank you. So let's say there's I think it was about 3,500 students in my class, or 5,000. Let's say 5,000, okay? 5,000, they split that in half, 2,500, 2,500. And then they assess you. They give you reserve, National Guard, active duty. From there, then you get to choose which one you want to do. So you get a wish list. You get the 17 branches. You get to put down infantry if you want infantry number 1. I didn't want infantry number 1. I put infantry number 16. I put armor number 17. That's what I did. I put military intelligence, signal corps. Those things deal with computers. That's what I love. So I put those number 1 and 2. So the probability of me getting signal corps and military intelligence was high, because I got military intelligence. And then the probability of me getting infantry and armor is slim to none.
Boot camp. Are you ready for it, or have you taken it already? And if not, are you afraid of it?
Okay. Boot camp, okay? Boot camp, I won't be going to boot camp. That's something that the enlisted soldiers do, and they do that. Myself as an officer, I go to something called BOLIC, which is Basic Officer Leadership Course. There, I learn my job in the Army. So let's say military intelligence again. I'll learn everything that there is on military intelligence, right? There, yes, I'll have physical training. I'll run here and there, do push-ups here and there. But I'm not scared of that. I mean, it's just something else. Just another obstacle in my way of getting to where I need to be. That's all it is. You just go down, you do your push-ups, you do your sit-ups, you run your 3-4 miles, and it's over with, you know? At the end of the day, time is ticking, so it's going to be over eventually.
Is there a need that your ROTC or the Army has? I mean, is there one area that they need more than others, or do they need it across the board? I mean, you mentioned infantry, you mentioned military intelligence. Is there one area they need more people in?
No, they need people in every area. That's what the Army, they're so diverse. We need people in every area, from infantry to nursing. We do have a nursing corps. So for nursing students, they can go to nursing corps. That's what they want to do. And they will be assessed in nursing corps. They won't even be compared to any infantry or anything. They will have their own little slot. From nursing corps to infantry to military intelligence to chemical corps to finance. We have a finance corps. We have a JAG corps for lawyers if you want to do law school. There's so many different things in the Army. People, you know, the stereotype is this, Saving Private Ryan, you know, Terminator, all the crazy stuff. But it's not like that at all. I mean, you need to look into it and just research it. It has nothing to do with some of those branches. I mean, you learn the tactics here and there, but most of those branches, I mean, you can go finance and you just deal with numbers. I mean, and then when you get out as a civilian, go work as a, you know, accountant for a firm agency, a big law firm or some type of agency.
You get a lot of questions, I bet, when you're out talking to people, when you're talking to potential recruits. What do you say the misconceptions are about the Army?
Oh, wow. Misconceptions, okay. Misconceptions, working out. We work out, but I mean, it's not anything you've seen, you know, crazy, you know. We work out. Just know we work out. It's nothing too crazy, okay?
I mean, it's not 24 hours a day.
No, it's 1 hour. It's 1 hour in the morning, you work out, you run a few bit, you do some push-ups, some sit-ups, you call it a day. Matter of fact, usually most of the time you can work out on your own anyways, right? But the working out, misconception about war. You know, we're always in war. We're always, you know, infantry. Everyone's infantry. You go in the Army, you're going infantry. Trust me, you're going infantry. No, you don't go infantry. Like I was saying, you go chemical corps. Learn about chemicals. You can get out and go work somewhere else. You go military intelligence. You can get out and work pretty much anywhere. You know, you can go finance, work out anywhere else. There's so many jobs in the military. You go so many different places. So those are two big misconceptions that I get every time I talk to somebody. Boot camp and boot camp, as you would call it, right? And pretty much we're always, everything's infantry. Everything's getting shot and blown up.
I want to give you a scenario, and I want you to tell me what happened in that scenario.
Okay.
Say you're at a fast food restaurant,
Right.
and you're eating a supersized double cheeseburger, all the fixins, with supersized fries and supersized Coke. Your boss comes in, or your supervisor comes in. Is he surprised, or is he mad at you?
He would probably smile with me. He'd probably go get himself a hamburger and some fries and sit with me and we'd talk about life. So it's okay. We eating anything, we can eat anything. We don't have restrictions.
And what do you do, let's say, after a big meal like that? Do you have to recover by working an extra hour, or is it a cheat day?
It's a cheat day. Matter of fact, my cheat day's today and maybe tomorrow. So tip tonight, make some food tomorrow, living the life.
Let's go back and talk a little bit about Fresno State and how welcoming the campus has been to the ROTC program.
Okay, the campus is extremely welcoming. We're allowed to pretty much do a lot. We've helped out with the Fresno State basketball team and doing some team building with their team. We use the pool majority of the time. We had an etiquette dinner a few months ago. Teaches cadets how to etiquettes during dinner. What spoon to use, what fork to use, how to pick up your cup, which way, left or right. So you don't look so confused in a banquet. And we do so much on campus, and not even on campus. We even do stuff in the community as well. We've done a Ronald McDonald Drive. We've done a toy drive as well. We do so much, and that's what our main goal is to outreach the community, let them know that there is a leadership program and we're willing to help.
I'm going to ask you a question that's not related to what we're talking about, but proper way to salute a flag. Have you learned that, and how do you do it?
Okay, you want to stand up?
No, well, do it as you're seated.
Okay, there we go, right here.
And
palms down, straight down.
Do you find that people misunderstand the respect for the flag, or what's been your experience?
My experience, people really don't understand the logic behind it, but people in the Army, you learn to respect it, because people think the Army as wearing uniforms, rifles, but it's not that at all. The Army is a family, and I would say that the Army is the one thing in the world that you will go somewhere and not know someone completely from the other side of the world, but you will trust that person with your life. That person will be your best friend.
When you have kids one day, are you going to recommend that they join the Army, or are you going to say, stay away from the military?
I would recommend them do anything that they would want to. So if they want to join the Army, I'll back them up 110%. If they wanted to go work at McDonald's, I'd back them up 110% as well.
What advice would you give someone wanting to become an ROTC member and wanting to join the Army? Is there something they should be doing now? Let's say that you're out talking to high school kids and they ask you, what should I be doing to prepare? What would you tell them?
I would tell them, there's a few things, but I would tell them, make sure your grades are always up. Focus on your academics, okay? In ROTC, our main goal before everything else is academics. We want leadership excellence today, and that all falls under academic scholarship. That's what we want. I would say physical fit. We don't want you, you're gonna have to work out eventually. You're gonna have to get it off if you gain it. So, just try to stay in shape as best as possible. We're not trying to tell you to be Hercules or Gladiator, but hey, don't sit around the house, play video games all day. Go outside, play basketball a little bit. Be physically fit. Get out to your community. Talk to your community. Interact with your community. Don't be a stranger. That's what I would honestly tell them.
Prior to joining, you must have had your own idea of the Army, of the ROTC. Now that you're a member of the ROTC, is it different than what you expected?
Yes.
And talk about how.
Okay. I thought about the Army as yelling, screaming, running around with rifles, dirty, mud, smelly. Wow. First time, that's my first impression. But when I got into the Army, saw something completely different. Everything that I stereotyped it as was just judging a book by its cover. It wasn't that at all. It was a lot deeper than that. And, that's what the media gives us, but hey, that's what the media gives us. But when I joined it, I saw something completely different. I saw something in myself growing. I've gotten a lot more confidence by then. About 3 years ago, probably would be up here right now. Be a little freaked out, sweating, shaking a little bit. But let's say, in the Army, it has built confidence in me. I can go in front of, millions of people and talk if I have to. Physically, gotten a little better physically, run a little faster. But my trust and trusting others, I can actually trust someone else to do something, or I can, if I fall back, I can trust my classmate to pick me up, And I can trust my classmate to identify my problems and strengths and weaknesses. and I do the same for others.
I can't let you out without asking you about guns and training with guns, because there's a lot of people who want to join the Army because they want to learn how to shoot the M16s and all the cool weapons that you have. But is there, as a ROTC member, do they train you on how to use those weapons, or does that come later on?
In the Army, they do treat, in the Army ROTC, they do train you how to use a rifle. LDAC, like I went to, they taught me how to use a M249, which is a machine gun. But you have to understand, when you're in the ROTC, you'll be more than likely a leader. You'd be a leader, you'd be a platoon leader, you'd be a lieutenant. Yes, you'll have a rifle if you're in that type of situation, in that combat zone. But other than that, you'll be leading troops. You will be talking to troops. You'll be more of a counselor. You'll be more of a director. You'll be planning, you'll be executing things. So, you have a rifle in your hand, yes, but you're not running around Terminator shooting everything up on through walls and everything.
Speaking about leaders, does the ROTC follow the same hierarchy? I mean, we are accustomed to hearing lieutenant and private first class and these different sergeants and different names for certain positions. Is the ROTC like that? And can you talk about like who's your boss?
Okay, so in the ROTC, the rank structure is a little different. In the ROTC, in the Army, you have in the Army, Marines, Air Force, you have a hierarchy. You have enlisted, you have warrant officers, then you have commissioned officers. Okay, so enlisted, you have your privates, your sergeants, sergeant majors, master sergeants. Then warrant officers, you have warrant officer 1, 2, 3, and then as an officer, commissioned officer, you'll have your second lieutenant, your first lieutenant, your captain, your major, colonel, lieutenant colonel. But when you in the ROTC, the rank structure is a little different. How the rank structure works is it's a company. You have your freshmen who are your privates. You have your sophomores who are your corporals. So your specialists, pretty much your corporals. You have your threes who are your NCOs. They get things done. You tell a three to do something, they'll get something done. Those are the juniors. And as seniors, myself, we are battalion staff. Okay, so we have people who do certain things. We have people who are in logistics, who get things done. If we're going to training, this person knows how many things need to be out there, how many water jugs, how many meals need to be out there. We have a battalion commander. We have an XO who gets safety risk assessments done. We have a cadet sergeant major who gets things done.
So very diverse.
Very diverse.
Thank you so much for coming on the program this week. Is there a number they can call for more information?
If they want to call for more information, it'll be 559-278-1664.
On that note, you have been watching and listening to San Joaquin Spotlight, a public affairs production of 90.7 KFSR Fresno and CMAC in Fresno. Thank you to the volunteer crew working on this production.